Shopping is hard, right? But there's a better way. Stitch Fix online personal styling makes it easy. I just give my stylist my size, style, and budget preferences. I order boxes when I want and how I want. No subscription required. And she sends just for me pieces, plus outfit recommendations and styling tips. I keep what I love and send back the rest. It's so easy. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/Spotify. That's stitchfix.com/Spotify.
Are negative Google reviews hurting your business? Don't let unfair feedback cost you customers. At Webamax, we specialize in removing false, misleading, and damaging reviews so your online reputation stays strong. Our expert team works quickly and legally to clean up your digital presence, helping you rebuild trust. Visit us on the web at www.gowebamax.com. That's GOWEBIMAX.com, or text us for a free quote at 856-840-8343. Don't let bad reviews define you. Get immediate help from Webamax.
I see you looking at me.
Can I have your attention, please? Yes, hi, Wanda Sykes here. You ever think about all the nicknames we have for breasts? Boobs, tatas, the girls, chesticles, bubbies. Heck, you might even have your own nickname for them. And yet, even though they get so much attention, they're still so ignored when it matters most. What's up with that? Well, on February 9th, tune in to see why I'm talking so much about breasts and visit yourattentionplease.com to learn more.
This episode is brought to you by Love Hurts. Kiwi Kwan has had quite a career, from childhood roles in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and The Goonies to a recent Academy Award win for Everything Everywhere All at Once. But now Ki finally stars as a leading man in the film Love Hurts. Love Hurts is the perfect date night movie with its mix of over-the-top action, comedy, and a ton of heart. Love Hurts, only at theaters February 7th.
Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network. You can follow us on our YouTube channel as well, at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined occasionally by my football gurus, Paul and Ian. Let's get to it. Hey, what's going on, Ram fans? Another Rams Up update here for you. 7 February 2025. Going to go over some news and notes, stuff happening with our Los Angeles Rams. And as I like to do, I'd like to talk about players from the Rams past, and we go by uniform numbers. This will be episode 657 on the podcast. So let's talk about a player who wore number 57, and I don't always talk about the Hall of Famers and the really famous guys that we all know about. Sometimes I like to dig a little bit deeper, and maybe a guy we've never heard of before. I don't remember him before my time, but he made a mark for himself. Number 57 linebacker Bill Jobko. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Now, he was a starter on the Ohio State offensive line, a team that won the national championship in 1954 and 1957 with him playing up front. He was an All-American in 1957, a 7th-round draft pick of the Rams in 1958, the 80th pick overall. That's right. There weren't many teams back then. I think there were 12. So 80th overall pick, and they play him at linebacker, had some solid seasons with the Rams before moving on to some other teams. Eventually ended up with the Falcons, where he had a standout career as a scouting director, a scout, and then a scouting director, and eventually director of player personnel with the Falcons. Bill Jobko, our number 57 for the Los Angeles Rams. Now, let's get to some real news here. Jared Verse, correctly named the 2024 Defensive Rookie of the Year. What a great year he had. And I was watching some highlights of him. Man, he is a beast, just knocking over 300-pound offensive linemen, sometimes 2 of them back-to-back on the same play. Pretty impressive. And I have here on the YouTube channel, if you can't see this on the podcast, obviously, but I'll walk through some past Rams rookies of the year. On offense, Eric Dickerson in 1983. 10 years later, Jerome Bettis, 1993. Sam Bradford in 2010. And Todd Gurley in 2015. And on defense, linebacker Isaiah Robinson in 1971. Aaron Donald in 2014. And Jared Verse in 2024. So the Rams have been well represented with this award, getting their fair share of rookies of the year. And you know what? Kobe Turner should be on here, shouldn't he? That was a disgrace, him not winning the award in 2023. He certainly deserved it. But Todd Gurley, man, still one of my favorite players in Rams history, the guy that I credit more than any other player turning this franchise around once they got to LA. And Aaron Donald, well, it'll be interesting to see how long it takes him to get in the Hall of Fame. Will they waive the waiting period for Aaron Donald? No, they won't, but they probably should. I mean, you look at these names here, Eric Dickerson and Aaron Donald, two of the best in the business at their positions. Pretty impressive list. All of these guys went on to have really good careers. The exception might be Sam Bradford, but the rest of them, they did it in their rookie year, and they did it throughout their career. Now back to this Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp dilemma. Kupp obviously on the trading block, and you're starting to hear some noise about Stafford that doesn't excite me. But Puka Nacua was talking about Cooper Kupp actually, and quoting here, the leader he's been, the captain that he's been, the way he interacts with everyone in the facility. It's been super cool to watch him. He has modeled the way. And, we shouldn't underestimate the impression Cooper Kupp has had on Puka Nacua, and what Puka Nacua has been able to learn from Cooper Kupp in his approach to the game, training, all that good stuff. So if Puka Nacua is taking over the mantle as a number one receiver, he already has, right? It's pretty cool that he learned from one of the best two wide receivers it just makes me feel really good to be a Rams fan, to have guys like this, rooting and pulling for guys like this. And a bummer that Cooper Kupp is leaving, obviously. But if there's an upside to it, Puka Nacua, some of Cooper Kupp has rubbed off on Puka Nacua for sure. And, now we heard what Kelly Stafford had to say about Matthew Stafford being a little bit unhappy. And, I'm not going to be one of those people that criticizes the player's wife for speaking up. That's certainly within her prerogative. But I'll leave it at that. And, she's an outspoken lady, and good for her. But there certainly is some noise about maybe Stafford maybe eyeing other teams and maybe taking his career elsewhere. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But Malik Neighbors throwing out putting some gas on the fire. He posted on Twitter, I think it was X, little sheep icon, and everybody got spun up about it. And he was quoted as saying, "It's a pretty good riddle. I don't know if everybody will solve this one. I'm not giving it away a lot. But I feel like people know what I'm aiming for, and what he's aiming for is, let's go get Matthew Stafford." Now, I think we're maybe getting ahead of ourselves here, but I guess it's possible, if Matthew Stafford plays a little bit of hardball, Cooper Kupp's on the trading block. The Kupps and the Staffords are not happy about that. Maybe something is going to happen with Matthew Stafford. And I want to give a shout out to Cooper Kupp's wife and Matthew Stafford's wife, because they both really went out of their way to state how much they love living in Los Angeles and Southern California. So that was kind of cool. They both love it here. I think they all would prefer to stay, but for Cooper Kupp, it's not happening.
You can play outside longer if you wear sunscreen. And you wouldn't jump out of an airplane without a parachute. Protection matters in life and in financial strategies, insurance, retirement, and more with New York Life. Visit NYL.com.
I see you looking at me.
Hey loves, Haley Steinfeld here. Let's be real. When I'm on the red carpet, everyone wants to know whose dress I'm wearing. But here's the thing. We're so focused on those details, we're missing something that's actually way more important. Breast health. It's wild. Breasts get so much attention, but they're still so ignored when it matters most. Don't know what I'm talking about? Tune in on February 9th and visit yourattentionplease.com. That's yourattentionplease.com. See you then.
I think you're on mute.
Workday starting to sound the same?
I think you're on mute.
Find something that sounds better for your career on LinkedIn. With LinkedIn Job Collections, you can browse curated collections by relevant industries and benefits, like flex PTO or hybrid workplaces, so you can find the right job for you. Get started at linkedin.com/jobs. Finding where you fit. LinkedIn knows how.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
And then Jim Everett jumped in on the fray, and he said, what would be the interest in Stafford and Kupp? A package deal is what he's getting at. And what would be the compensation? And I was thinking about the same thing. Now, I don't know if the Giants would make sense for that, to trade for a quarterback of that age. If you thought you were ready to make a playoff run, a Super Bowl run, I think it would make sense. I don't think they're quite there. Maybe 2 years ago, we might have thought that. But after last season, I don't know. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. You think they'd be better off drafting a quarterback. I think they have the third pick in the draft, right? So we'll see where that goes. But Jim Everett thinking alongside of me. And what would the Rams get for Stafford and Kupp in a package deal? Now, I know that's probably not going to happen, but I don't know. I don't think they're going to get a first-round pick in that case. I don't think they would, but maybe a second and a fifth and take out some of the money. I don't know, but it's worth discussing. Hey, if you're on the YouTube channel, throw up on the comments here what you think would be a fair deal. And, you know, we always think we overestimate what we're thinking going to get back in these situations. A first rounder, probably not, but maybe a second rounder, I suppose. Send them off to the Giants. And wouldn't it be funny if they made this trade and it was for Malik Neighbors? Maybe Malik Neighbors should be careful what he wishes for. But Jim Everett basically on the same wavelength as me. And, you know, what are the cap implications? Now, Stafford this is for a post 6-1 trade, I think is what I pulled these numbers for. A dead cap hit of $45 million, a savings of $4 million, and Cooper Kupp, a dead cap savings of $17 million. I'm sorry, it would be a dead cap hit of $17 million and a savings of $12 million. So, yeah, it's a little scary, you know, looking at these numbers, and I'm not a salary cap magician or expert, so I'm not going to tell you what all this means, but I will tell you, you know, there are similar numbers if you release a player. Now, if you release a player, depending on when you release them, you know, you can spread that dead cap over 2 years or the 1 year. Remember, a couple of years ago, the Rams did that, and they decided to take the hit all in that first year instead of spreading it over 2 years. So there's some options here, but it's going to be a little painful, but long run, it could be advantageous to the Rams. They would have some savings this year, but, you know, if they stockpile draft picks, maybe that'll alleviate the pain. You don't have to go out and get a bunch of free agents. But just following up on what Everett proposed here, what would be the cap implications for a trade of Stafford and Kupp? And in this case, it wouldn't have to be a package deal, but if you were to trade both of them. So what else do we got here? You know, Tyler Higbee, I shared my on my Fearsome 4 questions. One of the questions was who's going to be the starting 11 when the Rams run out for their first offensive snap in 2025. And I had penciled in Tyler Higbee as the tight end. And, Clutch Points kind of had a different view on this. They think there's a good chance the Rams move on from Tyler Higbee as well. And the reason I didn't originally think that might be the case is because the Rams seem to be a little bit disappointed in their tight ends. As soon as Tyler Higbee's healthy, there he is, getting all the snaps, really active in the Rams offense, but then he got hurt again. So, yeah, I don't know, but if he does carry a $9.6 million cap hit for 2025, a post 6/1 release, a dead cap of this year $4 million, 2026 $2 million, but a 2025 cap savings of $5.5 million. So yeah, I'm not proposing the Rams move on from Higbee as well, but it's possible. I remember, I think it was Tom Courts on this podcast was arguing that Higbee, they're going to move on from Higbee last year. And I think that was before the injury. Then he gets hurt. He's out for basically the whole year, and he comes back. And maybe we've kind of washed over that. I'm guilty of that. Just so excited about Higbee coming back, we forget how we felt about his future before the injury. We thought his future was limited here in Los Angeles. So something we'll have to keep an eye on. This Rams offense could look a lot different next year, but they've built a really young defense. Maybe this is the new Sean McVay LA Rams, where it's defense-centric and not offense-centric. They draft a quarterback, give the job to Jimmy G. Who knows? Going to be an exciting time. Might end up being a little bit of a scary time, considering where we were, in this playoff run last year, how good we felt about this team. It could be a lot of changes, and we're just going to have to embrace it because we have no choice. We have no say in the matter. We just have to trust that Kevin Demoff, Les Snead, and Sean McVay pull all the right strings. And the last thing I want to talk about here, some coaching news. The Jaguars hire their head coach, Liam Cohen, hires Shane Waldron. This guy has 9 lives. I don't think he's really been very successful as an offensive coordinator. Keeps on getting jobs, though, from the Seahawks and then to the Bears. Colorado, the University of Colorado, and Deion Sanders have hired Marshall Faulk as their running backs coach. He's been kind of running underneath the radar for several years now after he was let go by the NFL Network. And then some rehashing some perhaps older news. The Texans have hired Rams tight end coach Nick Haley as their offensive coordinator. Now, Nate Shieldhaas, fortunately, is staying with the Rams as their passing game coordinator and offensive assistant. So that's good news. But game management specialist John Stretch Stryker rejoining Mike Vrabel. He was with Vrabel with the Titans, and now he's rejoining him in New England. So, and I'm not convinced the Rams game management really got any better. No knock on him. It really, the buck stops with Sean McVay. So I still think they have some work there to do. So that's my Rams update here on February 7th, 2025. And I'm going to come back in a day or so, that the Rams fan rap sessions that we had rolling. And remember, the first one we had was Ernesto Salgado of Mexico City, or outside Mexico City. And we've done 5 or 6 additional ones, and no one's been taking the bait. I've been asking people to join me for this rap session. Just join me and we'll talk Rams football with any Rams fan anywhere. But no one's stepping up. So I'm bringing Ernesto back. That's going to be a lot of fun. Really intelligent guy, big Rams fan, hailing from south of the border. So look for that in the next day or two. Out here from Rams Up. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.